Hi VC, I'm back to do another post. It's been about a week or so since I last did an update, and I got some VCLT on on Friday, and this prompted basically. I said, look, I'm going to have to show it straight away. I was very thankful to receive it, very grateful to receive it. I have bought only two pieces, so it didn't really warrant an update. But I said I would beef up this update by showing other items that I hadn't shown before. What I've done is that I've sold some pieces in my collection that were gathering dust, so to speak, and I flogged them off and to a seller locally, and I bought two other items, both of which I'm very happy to have bought. So the first one of those is kind of a hip hop classic, a fantastic club track from the mid 1990s called "Suspended in Time." By the American hip-hop crew called Group Home. Anyone that's not familiar with this track, please check them out. Really, really strong. And B-side's really good as well. It's called The Realness. But I actually bought this from a local seller here in Ireland. He posted it out to me. I bought it on Wednesday. He posted it out to me. I had it on Friday. But unfortunately, this is not what I ordered. I ordered this track, but I ordered the picture disc first edition. Sorry, not picture disc, but picture sleeve, first US pressing of it. What I got was a 1999 reissue, so I gave him positive feedback, and but I put in a negative comment, rightly so. I didn't get what I paid for, so he kindly corrected it by refunding the postage to me. So whoever you are, thank you, and I'm grateful for that. But it is very irritating when you buy something and you get something completely different. It's not on really. But an extremely good track. Anyone who's not familiar with Group Home, please check them out. Okay, the second piece I got is from Pharoah Sanders. It's kind of at the intersection of free jazz and spiritual jazz. It's his 6th or 7th album from 1971 or 72 maybe. It's called Thembi. Again, it's on, like all of his earlier stuff, it's on the Impulse label, and this is an American first pressing on the usual hardback cardstock. Features Cecil McBee and who else is the bassist? Also Lonnie Liston Smith on keyboards, a couple of other dudes as well, most of which it has to be said I'm not familiar with, but another extremely strong album by him. I already had a few pieces by Pharoah Sanders in my collection. I had also from 1971 the live album Live at the East, which features the incredible lead-off track called The Healing Song, which I've already spoken highly about. I have his second album called Karma, and all of these three albums are on Impulse. And I have I'd say it's his fourth maybe, called Tawhid. Those three are all excellent, and now I have a fourth excellent release by him. There's only one other one that I'm looking for by him. It's called Jewels of Thought, which I will be picking up hopefully sometime between now and the end of the summer and the start of the summer. Okay, so they're the two pieces that I got. I've only added two. I got rid of about four pieces or so, and these would have substantially increased the qualitative the quality of my vinyl collection. The quantity, I lost two pieces in numerical terms, but I gained quality, So very happy to have gotten those. Okay, moving on, VCLT. I sent Jonas, the Sublimmedia, some VCLT a while back, and he reciprocated in kind. I'm very grateful, Jonas. You were looking for my... as soon as I told you I was sending you VCLT, you instantly responded and you wanted my address, and I was a bit reticent in sending you my address because I didn't want anything back. I wanted basically to give you stuff because you've given me so much enjoyment over the last 2 years and so much education, and I just wanted to reciprocate, to pay you back in some way for it. I had great fun in selecting the pieces that I wanted to get for you. I had been on a 30-day a vinyl challenge, so I had some money saved, and it was a pleasure buying the stuff for you. It doesn't matter how much they cost, that's secondary. The important thing was that I wanted to get the choice pieces in your hands, which I hope I did. I think you were very happy with what I shown you, or what I bought for you anyway. I am certainly very happy with what you sent me. I've only listened to one of them because I've just been extremely busy for the last couple of days, but I will hopefully get around to reviewing the rest of these for you. I know your mum is poorly at this point in time, and she and you are very much in our thoughts. So yeah, I just want to thank you, man, for this one. Bjorn Johansen Lind, his first album. I didn't have it, but you had seen me obviously speak highly of. I think this is his third release, called Sissel. This is on the Starburst Metronome label. I had shown this one around Christmas time. Extremely strong album, with the exception of the track Games People Pay, which is a bit of a turd, if truth be known. But I mean, there's some great tracks in this. Bulldog and Stora Polska, I've already indicated, are the go-to tracks on this one for me. And again, he's looking like a bouncer here, a very stern guy, doesn't know how to smile at all, it seems, but he certainly knows how to play music. He's a flautist, and I'd say he dabbles in other things as well. I know he plays percussion and that. But there's a strong cast on this. Bobo Stenson is on it, and the bassist, what's his name? Palle Danielson. I had heard of him as well before. I'm not sure in the context in which I'd heard of him, but I certainly heard of his name. This is also on the Metronome label, but it's on the turquoise and blue Metronome label. Again with the company sleeve that was on his original release, featuring that same heavy geezer who I have yet to find out. I definitely think it's Schlager now that I look at it, but he certainly had a sense of humour, didn't he? Okay, Jonas, I had to listen to this. It's in extremely good condition, and you housed it for me in a Blake sleeve, I see, so thank you for that one. Very minute I saw it, I played it. This one had been in my cart in Discogs for quite an amount of time. I'd never pulled the trigger on it, and I was delighted when I saw it. Thank you very much. Okay, the second release you sent me, I'm not too familiar with. I have an idea that the guys responsible for this effort are in the VC. It's called Schematics for a Blank Stare, and this one that you sent me is sealed. The guy's name is Jeff Greer. But I noticed the thank yous here feature some heavy hitters in the VC, that is Fred Big Star, Derek Higgins, and David Horowitz, who I believe is David Sequoia Flame down in Florida. So I'm really excited about this one. I will have a listen to it very shortly, and I will let you know what my opinion is. I'm also extremely excited by this one. I think this is a fusion album. Lasse Valander, Electrocuted is the title, is your lovely letter at the back. I'm extremely excited about this one too. I do know that you have an excellent taste in fusion, so I have no doubt that that one is class. This one is a complete curiosity to me. I'm not sure what it is. It looks like it's a compilation, and it looks like it was a compilation that was done to aid famine relief, which is a very noble cause. I will have a listen to this certainly, but I must say I've never heard of any of these acts. And you know, that's one of the great joys of receiving VCLT from different parts of the world. It exposes us to music that's outside of our comfort zone, and I'm really looking forward to listening to that. But the one that excites me most of all, I have to say, is, well, outside of the Bjorn Johansen Lind, obviously, is this one. A textured sleeve called Text and Music by a crew called Jaguarin, which must be the Swedish for Jaguar. This one certainly has stoked my curiosity. I can't wait to listen to it, and it may be the next one actually that I'll play. It's on the Naxving label. God, I'm sorry I even tried to pronounce that. But Jonas, those 5 ones you sent me, I'm extremely happy with, and thank you for continuing to broaden my horizons music-wise, and I hope all is well with you and your family. You're in our thoughts. Okay, moving quickly on, the mystery artist was Prince. I don't have much of his stuff. I am a huge passive fan of his. I haven't bought much of his stuff from Wax, but I own practically everything that he's released on digital download, some of which I must say is illegal digital downloads, but I have a fair amount of it. This particular release I have seen banded about in the VC before. I bought this one last summer. It's a white label promo on Paisley Records. It's called Madhouse. The title of the album is 8, which refers to the number of tracks that's contained there within. It's a completely instrumental work by Prince and the rest of his crew. I'm not even sure who plays on it, but it might be that Dr. Fink guy, whatever his name is. There's the promo stamp on it. I bought this one from a Polish seller last summer for, I think it was only €1, either €1 or €2. It definitely is a Paisley Park one because there's a little symbol. Yeah, there was a second one of these too. Mark, you're familiar with it. It might be called 16. The tracks here are numbered and titled 1 to 8, and I think the second one might be called 15 or 16, which obviously features tracks 9 through to 15. But very funky instrumental stuff. It also brings to mind his Rainbow Children. Is that the name of the album? I think it's called Rainbow Children, Prince album, which I've been trying unsuccessfully to get for a long period of time, but that would be the next one that I would be looking for by Prince, Rainbow Children. Extremely good. But I have to say my favourite Prince album of all time is this one, the one that I grew up with. I still think there isn't a weak second on this album, not to mind a weak track. I'm talking, there isn't a weak second on it. It's called, clearly, Purple Rain. My go-to track on this is that freak out track where he loses the plot at the end of it, called The Beautiful Ones. It's just a sensational track, very operatic, and he's a complete and utter meltdown in at the end of the track. But there isn't one dull moment in this album. Extremely funky, a mixture of funk and rock. Everyone is familiar with it though, so I don't need to elaborate. Nor will I elaborate on 1999. I thought actually this was a gatefold, but it's not. It's just a single LP. But everyone is familiar with that one, as indeed they are with this one, which is a gatefold. This is Sign of the Times, featuring Starfish and Coffee, Could Never Take the Place of Your Man, The Cross, and all those tracks. Very good, but not as good as 1999, and certainly not as good as Purple Rain. But I love it nonetheless. I have some 12 inches from it. I have the Sign of the Times one. And moving on then, Bat Dance, I have that particular 12 inch. I got these all very cheap. Party Man, the remix version, always the fondness for that track. Great club track. And then I've got a track from the album, which is probably his last greatest album, or maybe second last greatest album. I'm not sure if the Rainbow Children came after this. It probably did, in which case this would be his second last greatest album. It's from Diamonds and Pearls. The track is called Money Don't Matter Tonight. It's only okay. There's better tracks on that album. Cream is one of them anyway, which I don't have the 12 inch of, but a track for which I have immense fondness. And I also have this one from his Prince in the New Power Generation days, called Sexy Motherfucker. I think the B-side is Strolling, and this is the symbol thingamajig shaped 7 inch. Curiosity piece, I thought. So yeah, that's my Prince stuff. I told you guys it wasn't big, like the man himself. Good goods come in small packages. So that's that one. So I finally got around to showing you what was behind that mystery door. Okay, moving on, some VC stuff. I became acquainted in the last couple of days by a terrific bloke called LJ. I hadn't been familiar with his channel, but Jimmy the Earl of Suave corrected me and told me to get my ass over there as quickly as possible, which I promptly did. And immensely likeable guy, LJ, very enthusiastic, great sense of humour, and a guy with a huge fondness for hard rock, which I have to say is a genre that I'm not very familiar with. But in honour of him, I'd like to show the few pieces that I do have from that genre. The first one is by the Irish crew, Lizzy. This is not an original, featuring artwork by Jim Fitzpatrick. This one is not the die-cut release, but everyone is familiar with this one. It's on the Vertical label. I mean, side 2, Boys Are Back in Town, the Cowboy Song, Emerald. Running Back is on side 1, which is extremely good, as is the opening track, Jailbreak. Very strong hard rock album from mid-1970s. Cowboy Song is followed by Emerald, and I know in the Live and Dangerous album, those tracks segued directly into each other to great effect. But a very strong album, I would say. That's the only album I have by them. I have Live and Dangerous on CD, but not on album. But I have some 12 inches. I've got this one, Dedication, which may also be the title of a compilation. But this features Emerald, that track from directly taken from Live and Dangerous, but also the best track that is on the Live and Dangerous, a lovely ballad called Still in Love with You, with 2 great solos in it. It's my favourite Lizzy song, Still in Love with You. Emerald isn't half bad either. Okay, and then from 1983, from the Thunder and Lightning album, I was actually supposed to see them around that time. I was really young at the time, and I ended up getting the flu. I think I was still in national school, but no, actually I wasn't. I was in first year in secondary school. But the track is called "Cold Sweat," and featuring kind of artwork or photos of the boys in which they're trying to look threatening, but none of them pull it off. I mean, Brian Downey, come on, man, you don't look very tough to me. Particularly with that pink background going on. But Philo, of course, uber cool, without doubt the coolest Irishman to ever walk the planet. And he could half holler, couldn't he? But he had such a swagger about him. I absolutely loved him. And I have one final 12-inch called Thunder and Lightning, which was the name of the album that track Cold Sweat came from. And it features a different version of Still in Love with You, which is as I had said, was my favourite Lizzy track. I think this particular version features on the other live album that they had. It might have been called Live. It's got a blue cover. I can't think of the name of it instantly, but yeah. So recorded around 1983. Okay, and the other VC person I'd like to give a shout out to is Carm. And Carm has recently shown, this morning I saw it, a lovely video on electronica, and I'd like to show some pieces that I have of electronica. I'll just show my Tangerine Dream stuff if I can. I hope to get around to showing it because I'm at 16 minutes, so I better do this very, very quickly. Okay, so Tangerine Dream principally were founded in Germany by a guy who wasn't German, Edgar Froese. I think he was Lithuanian or Latvian or something. But this is his second album, a solo album that was released. His first one I think was called Aqua, and the third one's called Makuna Transfer, which I am looking for. I'm not looking for Aqua, but I am looking for Makuna Transfer, and this, as you can tell by the spelling, is indeed a German first issue on the Green Brain label. Stunning piece of work. It features 2 tracks. Okay, and of course he was in the crew Tangerine Dream. Initially it was Konrad Schnitzler himself and Klaus Schulze on drums, would you believe. He went on to achieve fame and notoriety as a solo artist, but they promptly disbanded after one album, and then they had a second one, the first one was called Electronic Meditation or something. The second one I can't recall the name of, but the third one was definitely this one, which is called Zeit. And there's a subtitle to it as well. It's called Largo in 4 Movements. Carm, I'm certain that you're familiar with this one, but you may be interested to note that this is a first edition as well, and it's on the Pink Ear label. It's a double album. Very good. Now, this is probably, I think, their second best album that I have. I have about 6 or 7, but this would be what I regard to be one of their top efforts. And interestingly, in all of his albums, he had his kid. I think the kid's name is Jerome. If you peruse the artwork carefully, he always had photographic representations of his kid on it. He later went on to become a member of Tangerine Dream, I believe. And so that's their third album. Is called Zeit. It's from 1972, I believe. Yeah. Their third one I don't have is called Atem. The fourth one I do have. At this stage they had moved on to Richard Branson's Virgin label, and Branson was looking to sign electronic artists. He just had a massive success with Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield, and these guys fell into his lap really. And the first album they produced for him was Phaedra. Again, a lovely album. And there's Jerome there. This one is really good. I give this quite a spin. I only got it at Christmas, but I've heard it maybe 10 times since. Very, very good. They were a very prolific crew, Tangerine Dream. Like, that was 1973. They followed it in 1974 with Rubicon, which is this one, which is an extremely strong effort as well. Actually, now that I think of it, this is my second favourite by them. It's playing there in the background. Rubicon, extremely strong album as well. Features extensive use of Mellotron. And there's Jerome there lurking away. Very, very good. This is also obviously on Virgin. But they more or less have released about, I think, about 80 or 90 albums. They followed that then with the same year with this live album called Ricochet. They did a tour of churches in Europe, I think maybe in England and Germany and France, and they recorded a few sessions there. But this is just made up of two, part one and part two of a track called Ricochet. And as with all their work, it's basically all electronic trance music. They were clearly involved and were the genesis for the techno movement. You can trace it directly from them and from Kraftwerk to the techno dance movement. I mean, very pulsing, very throbbing beat and sequence beat to their tracks, even though there's no percussion involved in it. Lovely drony electronic textures floating through it, but extremely interesting band, I think. And in the early 70s they produced a succession of extraordinary albums. This was the last of the greatest ones that I think, anyway. It's called Stratosphere. Again, this is on Virgin. Again, it's Gatefold, and there's young Jerome growing up, so you can trace he's probably about 5 or 6 there at that stage. Stratosphere, extremely good. Dave, you recognise all of these albums I bought in the green shop, with the exception of Phaedra, which I picked up at Christmas. But Tangerine Dream is stuff that it's dollar bin find. You can pick them up for €1 or €2 all day, every day. They're not expensive at all. I paid €10 for the Zeit one, or not, actually 10 sterling. Would you believe? Yeah, 10 sterling for this one here, the Zeit one. But that's an extremely good price. Dave, you remember that when I bought this on Discogs, I was astonished. It basically was a starting bid of 10. I put in 10 not thinking I was going to get it because of the fact that it was on the OR label. But sure enough, I won it, and I was astonished when I got it. But that is the priciest one by far. All the rest of them I bought for €1 to €2. That's the OR label. Okay, and the last piece I have by them is a lovely one. Not as good, obviously, as the other ones, but it's called Tangram. It features what I would say is something like a Transformer symbol, isn't it? It's like a Decepticon symbol. This album is called Tangram, and what's interesting about this one is that it's autographed. I picked this up from a seller at the fair in Cork last summer. I asked him about how authentic these signatures were. I wanted to establish the veracity of them, and he didn't get them himself, but he bought them from someone that he said was reputable enough. But I wanted to check it out, so I went online, and there's Edgar Frose's signature, and that's it there. So it's it looks spot on, Yeah, I've no doubt that it is authentic. But at that stage, the other individuals had left. Bauman and I think his name was Franke, who had been a feature of all the albums from Zeit on. They had left at that stage, and there was a new crew with him. And this is from 1980, and that's the last of the albums I have by them. I know they had another one of note as well called Western Eagle or Western Sky or something like that. That I've heard great things about, and of course they did a couple of soundtrack movies as well that are quite notable. I know Risky Business. I remember the swirling score from Risky Business, the Tom Cruise movie, and I also remember they did one called Sorcerer as well. But so that's my Tangerine Dream collection, and Carm, that's for you. And before I go, I just want to show you one last piece. I know that you're a huge Star Wars fan, so you'll be glad to see that I have the king of all bounty hunters here. I have some artwork there of the great Boba Fett. I picked this one out there a couple of years ago. I know that you're a huge fan of Star Wars and of Yoda in particular, but my hero in Star Wars was this dude. He didn't say much actually in the movie, did he? But he kind of had a menacing presence throughout. And there's a piece I did myself, kind of a Space Invaders thing, and it's my impression of the contacts folder in Outlook. So kind of a mini review of my art. I didn't actually do that one, of course. I bought this one, but I made the other ones. Okay, VC, thanks for bearing with me. I've gone long again, 24 minutes, damn it. Okay, take care everyone, and Jonas, talk to you soon, man, and all the best. We're thinking of you.